So we are talking about unlocking growth, the 5 tips to scale your business cost effectively. And I'm Elizabeth Ice, and this is really a little bit about me. I'm the CEO and founder of Results Resourcing, and I spent decades running Fortune 500 businesses and joined my first tech startup in 2020. And I basically did a lot of consulting for early stage companies, as well as working with that first tech startup. Eventually, that first tech startup did not succeed, which is not uncommon for a startup. And along the way, I was also an angel investor. So I really saw both sides of the equation, not only what it takes to build a small business, but also what investors value, in a small business when you need either capital or you're going to be an acquisition target. And so along the way, I decided to launch Results Resourcing. And I did so because I was passionate about small business and helping small business scale. And then I personally was my own experience of hiring freelancers myself to scale Results Resourcing. And along the way, clients started to recognize the talent that was helping me was really good. And they asked for hiring help. So I basically was helping other clients hire freelancers. And in doing so, I became, frankly, a power user of a lot of the platforms that are out there, like an Upwork or Fiverr, or there's so many these days, and really discovered a gap in the talent solutions for those small businesses, because you really talk to technology. You don't get to talk to a human. And so that's what inspired me to launch Results Resourcing. And I did that in 2017. I designed and built the Results Resourcing platform. And really one of our key differentiators is we insert a human into the process. So small business owners can actually talk to a human being to better understand their needs and get advice. And so we've been helping entrepreneurs scale their businesses ever since. And just as a backdrop, here's a little bit of information about small business and frankly, why I'm so excited about it and can continue to be so after 12 years. But small businesses are the lifeblood of the US economy. And frankly, most countries around the world, I mean, they create 2/3 of the net new jobs in the United States, and they really drive innovation and competitiveness, whether you're a small business doing plumbing in a local community or you're a fintech. And so just to give you a quick picture, there are 33 million small businesses in the United States, and 82% are solopreneurs. So that means they are non-employee firms. They are just one-person businesses. And another 20% are small businesses that might have about maybe 20 employees maximum. So the vast majority of businesses, and that's 99.9% of US businesses, that create 46% of US employment and 46% of the GDP. Now, what we read about day to day, are the really big companies, but actually what drives the US economy are all of the accumulation of all these small businesses, and probably everyone on this call is contributing to this economy. So a little more snapshot, because I think this is going to give you context for why I think hiring freelancers is such a great solution for scaling a small business. The annual average revenue for a solopreneur is 50 grand in the United States. And if you start adding employees, it's about 400 grand if you have between 1 and 4 employees, a little over $1 million if you have 5 to 9, and a little over 2 million if you have 10 to 19. So if we can increase the revenue just a little bit for all of these companies, think of the impact that small business could, the better impact that small businesses can have, in our communities. But the survival rate of small businesses is tough. After 2 years, 68% of small businesses that were formed are still surviving. After 5 years, it's 50, 10 years, 34, and 15 years, just a quarter of those businesses have survived. And why do they survive versus they don't survive? Well, the main failure reasons are because they run out of money, and probably because they run out of money and they're not staying current on things, their products or services become obsolete, or they're outcompeted by new competitors that have newer technology or more innovative ideas. And then I think another thing that's contributing to failure is technology, and that's increasingly important when we're moving into the world of artificial intelligence. But only 39% use any kind of specialized software, and that's software like a CRM system, or perhaps they're using spreadsheets versus QuickBooks, or they're not using newsletter delivery systems or email programs. And then only 33% of these businesses actually use cloud-based computing. So that means a lot of people are still using software that's installed on a computer and isn't shareable. So I think this gives you a snapshot of the opportunity areas for small businesses to grow, adopt new technologies. And if they can grow, they're not going to run out of money as quickly. They can invest in their businesses to have current products and services and keep up with competition. So I think this is a good grounding on why and how small businesses should be thinking about new ways of doing business. So I think impact's important. And when people think about impact, the first thing they think about is profitability and revenue. And I think those are very important impact definitions. But I also think that there's other definitions for impact. And when I talk to small businesses, this is what I hear. They want to spend more time doing what they love, more client time, more cash flow, profits, yes, more family time, community time, and they want better work-life balance. And I think those are all important elements to impact. And that really leads me to what I want to talk about first, which is how you create time to have the impact that you want. And so really, why are you here? It's probably because you want to grow and scale your business and you want to impact the world you live in cost effectively and easily. You don't want it to be hard. And that's really what my mission is and the mission of Results Resourcing. We are here to empower your purpose and your success because we're there too. We live the same life you do as entrepreneurs. And we help a lot of entrepreneurs, so we have insights into the options that you can explore. Let's talk about time, because that is one resource everybody has. But the question is really, are you spending or are you investing your time? So if you would, you probably have a piece of paper and a pencil with you. Jot down what you think an hour of your time is worth and how many hours per week you work. And then you just do a simple multiplication, 1 times 2. And that's going to tell you the rough value of the time you work each week. But the question is, again, are you investing or spending that time? So we've done a lot of study on this because creating time gives you time and space to have impact. And so we have a return on time calculator, and I'll share the link to it in just a moment. But I wanted to share the findings of all the people that have ever taken this survey, and we've had it running for years now. But the average rate that people who take the survey say they charge is, or the value of their hour is $166. No one ever says it's $10. It's 166. And they say their average work week is 58 hours per week. And the core work that they do, which is the work that generates client value, that generates revenue, they frankly only spend 25 out of that total hourly week on that core work, 43%. So if you do the math, 25 hours times 166, that's $4,000 a week that they're investing in their business to build client value to generate revenue. So the converse is the non-core work, which is non-revenue generating. That's the majority of what people do. 57% of their time is spent on that work. Again, doing the math, 33 hours times 166, that's $5,500 per week. So really, the question is, how do you convert some of those unproductive hours, those non-revenue generating hours, to revenue client generating, opportunity generating work? And that's the question we're going to really work on today. So this is the link to our return on time calculator. I encourage you to take a look at the QR code or take a screenshot to get the URL and take it on your own time. It takes maybe 3 minutes, really quick and easy, and you can take it multiple times to test out different scenarios. In fact, I see that a lot. And then so it can give you insight to how you're spending or investing your time in your business. So let me turn next to core and non-core work, because really that's what we're talking about when we're talking about spending or investing your time. And frankly, it's the age-old 80-20 rule. So 20% of the work effort is really driving the client and business value. But it's 80% of the effort to just run the business, because all that stuff needs to get done. It's just who should be doing it, frankly. So really thinking about what work is occupying your time, because your time is finite and it's valuable, and it ought to be directed at the things that are going to help you grow and scale your business and your impact. And again, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the big question is doing or delegating. And it's our belief is that you should be focusing on the core work of your business that drives client value and revenue, because that's what your client will pay you for. So we might call that the front office. The back office is the non-core work, that 80% that your client won't pay for, that is needed to deliver the core value. And that's that 57% of the time work. And I saw an interesting study by Seth Godin the other day, and he talked about the do work as the differentiators. And he talked about the non-core work as the undifferentiators, the common work that everybody needs to do, but it's not what your clients pay you for. So again, thinking about ways to get the back office necessary stuff done is a great way to think about outsourcing to talented fractional talent. And that's one of the main reasons that one of the main ways I've grown my business, and one of the main ways that I want to recommend to all of you to consider. So when you think about doing or delegating, what are the things you should be doing? Anything that delivers client value, anything that generates revenue. The things you should maybe do are things that you love to do, because that's, of course, why we work and live, is to do what we love to do. But you should also maybe do it if you're just good at it, but don't do it because you're not good at it or you don't have any other choices, because delegating is an option for you. It's just finding the right people. So things that are ops or admin oriented, where you just need a part-time skill for a part-time project, or something you need objectivity or some expertise outside your own expertise, or just things you don't like to do or aren't good at, those are prime targets to delegate. And key really is finding the right people. And we'll talk to you more about that. And here, just to help you think about it, is these are examples of core and non-core work. Of course, it differs based on what kind of business you have, but anything that's strategy, that's delivering value to clients, that's around partnerships or marketing strategy, content ideas that carry your own voice, your own philosophies that you want to share with the market, or building your network or community, that's core work that the business owner really, really needs to do. And then the non-core work is anything that supports it. And these are just common things that we hear about. But I do want to say that, if you happen to be a digital agency, creative agency, marketing and social media and execution might be core. So you really have to think about the kind of business you do, and it helps shape what you deem as core versus non-core. So let's talk about scaling growth with outsourced support. And the three ideas that I want to talk about are process, tools, and then people. It's an approach to doing business, and I'll talk more about it in a minute, but it's in that order: process, tools, and people. The second is thinking bigger about fractional support. So many people think about fractional support and they think of offshore, inexpensive, cheap. And that's really not so much the case. In fact, I would make the argument that many small businesses, many people on this call, are probably fractional businesses. You offer a fractional service to your client, and you're an expert in a certain thing. And so if you think about yourself, you are a small business, but you're also fractional, delivering services to others. And so thinking bigger about fractional support opens your mind to the opportunities of how fractional support can support your business. And then I want to talk specifically about the benefits of outsourcing, because not just getting work done, but there's some real key reasons to why outsourcing can be of value to your business. So let's start with scaling you, which is really process, tools, and people, which is what the triangle shows, which helps you scale your value delivery. So process is really important. It's kind of one of those things that doesn't seem sexy, it seems boring, but it's really important because, frankly, how you deliver customer value is a business asset. And if you ultimately want to sell your business, people are going to want to know how you do it. So it's an asset that can be transferred to a new owner. But these are some of the key things that affect you today, day to day. Building repeatable processes, make sure that you deliver value consistently. So one client gets the same value in the same method that another does. It helps you get more done consistently. And it helps you delegate and outsource. Because if you don't have a document or some sort of a tool to help people understand your process, even the smartest person isn't going to do it exactly the way you want it done because it's not outlined. So really, building a repeatable process is really, really important to any kind of a business. And I hear a lot from customers who say to me, oh, I'm not a process person. And that's okay. You don't have to be, because there's a freelancer that is an excellent process person. And what I see happening a lot is they really almost interview you to get your process ideas out of your head. How do you do this? They write it down for you. So it becomes a Google Doc or whatever kind of document you want. So there's a way to get process done, documented for you to do something with, but you don't have to do it. You just need to tell somebody how it's done. Then they do the rest for you. And that's a perfect example of how you can hire a fractional resource to help you get more work done and document your processes. In fact, it's called document as you do. The next thing is tools. Use tech tools that fit your process. And what's really important here is so many people buy a tool that they see in the market and they go, oh, that's the silver bullet. But if it doesn't match your process, then you have to re-engineering your process to fit the tool. And that really may not be saving you time and money in the long run. So process first, then buy the tools that fit your process. And you're going to make better tool decisions. And the first thing you do with tools is you offload repetitive tasks. It's better to have the tools, which are fixed costs, do routine work than it is to outsource that to people or to employees, staff you might have, because that's variable cost and it's expensive for people to do what tools can do. Tools also allow you to capture valuable data, because data is important to understand the insights from your business, what's important to clients. And again, if you ultimately want to sell your business, having data about your business is important in some sort of a tool like a CRM. So going back to that fact that so many small businesses aren't investing in software tools, especially cloud-based tools, can be a liability. And then the last thing, in the day of, there's everything AI today, but embracing AI is important. It can do work for you. And so these are just examples. Automating routine process workflows. That AI has actually been around for years, but it's popular now because of generative AI. But any kind that's a mechanized process, computer process, is artificial intelligence applied to workflows. So having workflows to do work for you, to send emails, to follow up on leads, all those things are important uses of artificial intelligence. Then you can take that next step to have a bot, for example, chat GPT kind of bot, respond to routine responses. You can have them synthesize information. You can help them ideate and come up with ideas for blogs and things like that. And again, people might say, oh, I'm not a tech person, but that's okay, because there's tons of great freelancers that love to do technology, that are so knowledgeable about the latest tools and which tool is going to best fit your business, or help you to use artificial intelligence, or to put your information into artificial intelligence, then check it. So it's accurate, it's not hallucinating, and that it also reflects your voice, which does take a human being. To take AI and then make it sound like you, sound like your business, sound authentic. That's a perfect role for a human. And so that really leads me to the last thing, which is scaling you does involve people, but it's after, in my mind, after process tools, then people, because you want to leverage their minds. Because what people are great at are critical thinking and creative thinking. So it's in this order: process tools, which include AI, then people. And these can be employees, can be your network or business partners. But obviously one of my favorites is freelance and contract professionals, because there's just an amazing wealth of people out there that can help you do what you need to do. So whatever it is, X, Y, or Z, honestly, there is a freelancer for that. So what are the benefits of using freelancers and outsourcing? Well, frankly, it's all about optimizing the use of your time so you can create more time for impact, and frankly, for your capital. However much capital you have, this is a good investment because it's going to free you up to generate more value. So freelancers are great because they offer availability, flexibility, and skills. And so there's a short list of things that I think are really meaningful. A, you offload the non-core work. You don't have to offload it all, but pick and choose the things that are going to have the most impact for you. Start there. And it helps you scale up or down. There may be certain skills you need once a quarter, but you don't have to hire a full-time person and keep them busy until you need them in that quarter. You can scale up or down using freelance talents that is really skillful in whatever it is you need, just when you need it. And this helps you offer or add variable cost expertise. So you're not paying for it full-time with all the benefits. You're paying for the time you need to do the work you need done. The other thing I like about freelance is they're very results oriented. So not that employees can't be great, but they're employees. It's not their business, it's your business. But if you've got a freelancer who is also running a small business, they are going to care about whether they're delivering value to you as their client. And so they tend to be very results oriented, and they're not clock punchers. They want to really deliver value because their next gig requires them to deliver value to you. So I think that's a really important thing to freelancers. Another thing is they offer really broad thinking and experience. Because they work across industry, they work across clients, they can get experience that can be applied from one industry to yours, or they can tell you about new ideas that certain clients are doing in certain things. So you can learn a lot by working with people who are independent thinkers. And then the last thing is really adding, AI utilization skills. There seems to be a new AI tool out there almost every day. Well, which one do you use? Which one's best? Well, you don't have to do a DIY project to figure that out. You can really leverage people that use the AI every day in their work as freelancers to help you figure that out. So basically, bottom line, what talent does your 80% need? These are the big categories. And honestly, there is a freelance professional for that. And I do add the word pro whenever I talk about freelancers, because there's a lot of people that freelance, but you want people, it's not their side hustle that they do it occasionally. You want people that are professional at whatever level of expertise they're offering to you. So how do you find these freelance pros? Well, there's three primary ways. One is to do it yourself. Your friends, colleagues, referral groups, or the platforms. There's amazing talent out on these platforms. And they're using platforms, friends, colleagues, because they're trying to tell people they want work. They want to do work for you. But it's a laborious process to sift through all these things. And frankly, sending an email out to your friends, hey, do you know anybody that can do X? That really doesn't even respect your friend's time, because you're asking them to take time to find a needle in a haystack when you probably haven't really well defined your needs anyway. So I'm not a big fan of do DIY. Another way to get great talent is to partner, to find businesses that are complementary. Say a web development firm might partner with a graphic design firm. They complement each other. And there's ways to, pursue clients together, generate revenue, cost share. But really, the success depends on alignment, the two businesses being aligned and that their needs are balanced. Many times I see an emerging business wanting to partner with a larger, more successful business because they want to level up, but that puts pressure on the more successful business to carry the load. So it's not always as easy as it seems to really develop a cost-effective or success-effective partnership. I am a fan of recruiters that are contract specialists because there's no opportunity cost. And they're experts at what they do. You do pay for the service value of finding and vetting freelance talent for you, but then you're freed up to deliver impact until you get the right freelancer matched to you. And many do come with success guarantees, performance guarantees. So when I think about ROI, DIY solutions are low ROI. Partners, they have the potential to be high impact if you find the right ones. And then I do believe recruiters are very high ROI because you're going to get payback for every dollar that you spend working with the right recruiter for contract specialists. So let me tell a little bit about results resourcing, because this is my passion and really what we do for a living. But we are a virtual fractional talent platform and service. And our sole mission is exclusively focused on solo and small businesses and helping them scale. And I built the platform with solo and small businesses in mind, first based on what I found in my own needs were, building our own business, but then in helping hundreds of solos and small businesses scale over the years. And so what we are is a freelance talent matching service. And I like to think of us as being the best of both worlds. We are talent specialists, but we're also technology specialists. And we've focused on small business and built the technology to make it lean, mean, and cost effective to work with us. So we have a fully automated proprietary technology platform that frankly, you don't even need to care about, other than it runs the back room and it makes us really efficient. We have no humans pushing digital paper. We have a machine that does all the work, but what's important is it inserts a human into the process. So you're actually talking to entrepreneurs that are growing and scaling businesses. And we talk to you about your needs and help you understand the solutions that you can have in the marketplace. We can provide access to skilled, scalable talents. And the key is they're critical thinkers and doers. They're not following a task list and not going beyond that, even if they determine a need. And that's often what happens when you're working with freelancers that aren't from the United States. But we also focus with teams and individuals, so you can have a choice of both. Teams are very scalable. I'll talk about that in a minute. But we also focus on US Canadian pros. And this kind of gets back to what I was saying about, critical thinkers, is they're familiar with the culture and they're savvy about business here. And no matter how smart and how fluent people are from other countries, if they've not lived and done business here, there's just a gap. And that gap can cost money because you've got to micromanage, you've got to step in and correct things because someone didn't understand how business is done here. So there's a value and understanding the impact on your time when you choose to hire somebody that perhaps doesn't have the experience in the United States or Canada, which is where we focused. And we also make it cost effective and quick. So these are things I think about when I think about freelance talent services. First, you want to work with somebody that's a freelance work expert that has that network of finding the talent for you. And these are the things that really drive our service. It's human-led. We do a free job intro call. We provide curated talent, scalable teams, and we guarantee satisfaction of the team matches we make. So we are a done-for-you service, and we are a yes in all these columns. And while there's phenomenal talent on Upwork, Fiverr, and all these other platforms, and they are clearly freelance work experts, for small businesses and solopreneurs, it's totally DIY. You have to do all the work. You have to post your job. You could get, if you put something like a virtual assistant into the skills box, you'll get thousands of freelance matches. You've got to go through them all. That's just a lot of work to do all that kind of curation. And if you didn't get your specs just right, you may not get the right match. And this is honestly one of my favorites. It's the well-meaning friend. You're like, hey, my neighbor knows this person or whatever. And that's a super intention. But at the end of the day, your neighbor doesn't know your work or what specific talents you need. So it's helpful. But again, it's the burden's on you to figure out whether to call up that person, get that person's resume, go through the whole process. So as you can expect, I think anything that's DIY is non-core work. And there's better ways to get it done with better results faster. So hiring vetted freelance talent. What did we keep hearing from people? As we've been working with people over the years, people came back and said, I don't need anything fancy. I need somebody that's competent, reliable, nice, and I need it right now. I don't want to wait. And so while we started the company really curating custom talent for people, we shifted. And now we do on-demand freelance assistance because we want to deliver on competent, reliable, nice, and now. And so what our freelance assistant consists of today is on-demand matching to pre-vetted freelance teams. They are all US or Canadian based because of the importance of understanding culture and business practices in the environment that you're doing business. So it makes it for an easy alignment with your business and what you do. People come preloaded knowing about your kind of business in this business environment. They're also reliable, self-directed, resourceful people that are dedicated to you. So you build a relationship with a team lead, and then that team understands your business. You're not having to recreate the wheel or repeat what is needed. The team really is motivated to serve you in a broad way. And there's a broad list of commonly needed skill by role type. So you're not hiring a freelancer just to do one specific thing. You're hiring a team that can do a variety of things. There might be on one team, some teams are as large as 15 people. There might be a graphic designer, a bookkeeper, a CRM specialist, an Excel specialist, an AI specialist. It's impossible for one person to be all those things at any depth of expertise, but you can get depth of expertise scalable on a team. And the scalability of time is also important because you're not going to get a freelancer that says, I only have 5 more hours a week. You got a team that can scale with you. Suddenly you need from 5 to 15, the team can grow with you. And with our platform, there's no minimum hours commitment. We heard a lot of people say, I don't really want to sign up for a 20-hour retainer because I don't know how I'm going to use that. And I don't want to tie up my capital. We don't require that. And the other thing that, back to the competent, reliable, nice, and now, people want to get started right away. So we can have teams up and running for you in 24 to 48 hours. And these are probably some of the most popular roles that almost every solopreneur or small business needs: a virtual assistant, executive assistant, anything to do with executing social media and marketing. Project management's a big one. And of course, anything that helps with revenue generation and lead generation. They aren't salespeople, but they can do a lot to support the sales process. And then bookkeeping, that comes up a lot. And always at the end of the day, we're about helping you scale. We deliver results, and that's why we named the company Results Resourcing, because we want to resource your results. So in summary, here's 5 tips for impact. Learn the value of your time, because I think understanding that is going to help you make decisions about where you're spending your time or investing your time, and how to do more work that's core to help you optimize your time to get the most value from it. And then I'm a big believer, as I said, in adopting a process, tools, then people approach. And you can do it a little at a time. Doesn't have to be all at once. And that really helps you gain the cost benefit and the value add of fractional talent. And then I'm a big believer in outsourcing, and we will help. We will help talk you through the process and help you understand your options. And maybe your options might not be us in some cases, but we want to help you understand what your options are so you can take advantage and scale your business. Because going back to my first premise, small business, is the backbone of the economy. And I want to help all small businesses, whether solopreneurs or small businesses, scale and have more impact. But with that, open up for questions. Lana, do we have any questions from the group? Hopefully I've covered a lot of what you're curious about, but happy to get into any more detail if anyone has questions.
Great. We have some questions that came in, but also I offered, if anybody wants to send me confidential questions, they can send me directly, so they don't have to be on a public chat. We have a question in the chat here. Do you differentiate between offshore and freelance?
I don't differentiate between offshore and freelance, because offshore, they are freelancers, and there's plenty of, frankly, there's a lot of independent people, and then there's a lot of companies offshore that specialize, particularly in IT or technical services and virtual assistants. And, the key is just understanding whether the value of those programs match what your need is, because they often will have excellent English speaking and writing folks. Some won't. So it's important to know whether the work that's going to be done involves communications or not. But work style can be very different in different countries. And it's just understanding that it's going to require closer management, and process is going to be very important in working with offshore companies, because you're going to have to be very specific about the process, the work that you want done, in order for it to be done as you want it done. And they're not going to have, the on-site business experience or cultural experience, here, unless they've lived here. And so it's just exploring those things to understand. And so they are freelance. They could be freelance individuals, or they could be freelance companies. And the other thing that many of the offshore companies require is that you do sign a package. They offer a variety of packages. Some can be very flexible, but you generally speaking, you're signing up for maybe 20 hours a month or something like that. So you have to be comfortable with that as well. So, our goal was to offer an alternative to that with no minimums, but people who frankly are more expensive than offshore, but there's also a value that you get from working with people you don't have to manage as closely, that are critical thinkers and able to do a broader range of work.
Thank you. Here's another question. You mentioned to capture data. If you don't have a CRM, would a freelancer help you come up with the right decision?
Absolutely. You can use freelancers, frankly, just to do research for you, to talk to a freelancer about, this is my core business. What are the best CRM options for my budget and the kind of business I have, and how the data and how I want to track it. So that can be a freelance project all by itself, just doing that for you, to come up with a list and putting a spreadsheet together or something like that that lists, the options, the pros and the cons, the cost, those kinds of things. And then once you make a decision, freelancers can really help you set it up. And then ultimately, and frankly, what I see most often is people buy CRM tools. They buy the tool, and they get it set up to the minimum, but they never optimize it. So they might get some core data in there, but they don't get all of the data in here. So they can never really get out a newsletter or send out automated emails to people or things like that. So freelancers can help in all three areas, from choosing one to setting it up to optimizing it.
There's a follow-up question about the automation. Some of the automation companies that are out there, they're very costly. Would a freelancer, do you have freelancers that are familiar with automation and how to set it up in the CRMs?
Absolutely. And, that kind of dovetails with the last question, but most freelancers are, especially those that are virtual assistants or executive assistants or project managers, they're very familiar with the key tools that are used in those professional areas. So they're familiar with, the common CRM systems that most people use. They're frankly familiar with a lot of billing systems, with project management systems. And so that's definitely a good way to, have people help you understand what your options are, again, depending on where you are, the kind of business you are, and the budget that you have. And they can help you get completely set up and optimize those systems. And they can, whether it's you don't have one today and you want to get one, or you have one already and you're not utilizing it to its full potential, or you bought a new one and you want to migrate data from one CRM system to another. Definitely things that freelance professionals can help you with.
Thank you. Here's another question. Do I need to have all non-core work defined before I start working with a freelancer, or can it be scaled up after? Is there an ideal approach for this?
That is a great question, and one that comes up a lot. And the answer is no. You don't have to have anything organized, frankly. One of the benefits of working with a quality VA or EA is they can help you get organized. I mean, they basically help. In fact, one freelancer that I know well on this call, Lana, talks about being a chaos coordinator, taking a chaos situation and helping bring order to it, and prioritizing, well, outsourcing what work would have the most impact. So I see a lot of times people come with a very specific need, and we find a freelancer to help them do that. But the beauty of the team is that soon that need is met, and then there's new needs. And so the beauty of working with a team is the team can migrate as the business migrates. And then another thing we've done actually is we've created some flyers, around the different roles that we do have, like a VA or a project manager. And on the back of our flyers, it lists all the kinds of things that could be done for you. Because I find a lot of times the client isn't thinking about all the possibilities. And when they see a list, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I could do this, 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 and this. More things come to mind once you get started. And a freelancer really can help you explore that and decide what are the best things that are going to have the biggest impact for you by outsourcing.
One more question. What happens if I don't like my match?
That's always a good question too. And one of the reasons that we're successful at our matches is the work we do up front to make a match, because it's important to match based on the business skills that a client needs, the tool skills that the client needs, as well as work style. And so there's a lot of conversation in that initial job consult to understand the values of those three areas, so we can make a good match. And then we also have a process where a client gets acquainted, with the match freelance team. And generally it's a thumbs up. We have very few people that don't end up liking their match, but occasionally that does happen. Or frankly, sometimes a freelancer, gets COVID or something like that. It hasn't happened too recently, but that has happened in the past, and we can make a change. Our goal again is really committed to your success. And so our goal is to make the best match between the team and the client. And honestly, that's best for the freelancer too, because the freelancers are small business and we're committed to their success too. So it's really making the best match for a win-win.
Thank you. Can you talk about your process for invoicing?
Sure, it's
How does
all
that work?
automated in our system. And when we have a new job in the system, we basically charge a setup fee, which is $499. And then depending on the role, it's either $45 or $55 an hour. And when we set up a job, it just gets input into the system for that job. And to get the job started is paying that initial job deposit, 1 hour job deposit, and the setup fee. And then our system takes over. We become a payment processor. And so we make the match with the freelancer, you begin working with the freelancer, and the freelancer invoices through our platform. And you get automated notices from the platform that, hey, your freelancer is just invoiced. Here's the amount, here's the details of the work that was done. We're big on communicating to minimize, the lack of certainty about, invoices. And then the client pays through our system and we pay the freelancer. And one of the benefits of working through a platform like Results Resourcing is we are a third-party payment processor. So it creates distance between your, client company and the freelancer, because, there's a lot of discussion about misclassification and whether somebody's a freelancer or not a freelancer, and whether they're in business for themselves or it's a side hustle. So all those things are important, and we do our best to educate around that issue, and we'll be the first to say what you're looking for, frankly, is a full-time person. It's not a freelancer, because we want to make sure you hire the right talent for whatever the need is. So probably went a little broader than the initial question, but hopefully it was all relevant.
Okay, we have one last question. I'm looking to broaden my horizon and looking for speaking opportunities. Would a freelancer help me do that? Or should I hire a PR firm?
Well, it depends. I mean, I think the key is that the freelancer can help you prepare for that. And ultimately, the freelancer can help help you put together your speaker sheet, can help you start to do research on the different speaking opportunities there might be, whether it's a podcast or it's live speaking or whatever it is. Frankly, the freelancers can also help create a pitch email, things like that. They can pitch you. They can reach out to potential speaking engagements. So there's a lot that can be done. So depending on the level of speaking you want to do, a freelancer can be a great solution. At some point, if you want to do a TED Talk, or you speak with, one of the podcasts that has got, 1 million or more downloads a month, you may need somebody that's specialized in that kind of publicity. But, freelancer for most people can probably do a lot of legwork to get you up and running and get you started. Well, we're probably at the top of the hour. If there's other questions that are out there that weren't answered, please put them in the chat and we'll be sure to get back to you. But I also wanted to say, here's another QR code to book a free call. I love talking to people about how freelance pros can help you scale your business. No obligation. Always learn a lot from talking to people, and happy to help you find direction, whether it's us or other solutions. And I also love talking about this. So if there are opportunities for organizations you're with that would like a speaker on this topic, would happy to do that as well. So again, here's a way to schedule a call with me, or connect with me on LinkedIn. So I really appreciate your time. Sorry for the fact I wasn't sharing the screens right in the beginning, but hopefully this has been valuable for you, and I really look forward to hearing from you and hopefully helping you. So here's to all small businesses and solopreneurs scaling their impact in this world. Thank you so much today.